All right. Hey guys, I'm Mr. Woodchick, and I'd like to welcome you guys to the class. And I wanted to start off, and I just wanted to show you guys what I need you to do. I've given you a piece of paper that has A, B, C, D, E, and F on it, right? That's 6 problems. The whole point of what I'm going to do for you today is that by the time we get done, you have to be able to tell me what the names of these shapes are. And so some of them are pyramids, some of them are prisms, they're mixed up, they have different names. So by the time we get done here, you got to be able to tell me what are the names of these shapes on here, and then write them for each A, B, C, D, E, and F. You write them on that paper, and that's the idea. That's the goal of what we're doing here today. If you can't do that by the time we're done, then you probably haven't got what we need to out of this lesson. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to get started, and I wanted to, first of all, let's take a look at some of the talking points. First of all, the first thing you got to know is that all pyramids and prisms are, let's fix that, made, oops, maybe not, I guess you can't type in this mode, are made out of normal flat polygons that we are already familiar with, okay? So my point is that whenever I start a pyramid or a prism, if you look, we just have some normal polygons. I'm going to make pyramids out of these, but you can see, what's this called? This is called a triangle. This is a rectangle, or a quadrilateral. We have a pentagon and a hexagon. And guess what? When I make prisms, today I'm just going to use those same 3 or 4 shapes. The triangle, the rectangle, the pentagon, and the hexagon. Now let's see what do we do to make these shapes into what we want. So let's take a look back at this, and we're going to start off with the prisms. Okay, so prisms are basically made by, you take a flat shape, and you're going to see, if this doesn't make any sense, just wait a second, you'll see, and we pull it up into 3-dimensional space. Okay, and so they're made by pushing the polygon up into 3-dimensional space. And remember, prisms always have a copy of the shape on the top and the bottom. So the tops and the bottoms, the ends of these shapes are going to be the same. Here's what I mean by that. Let's take a look now and let's see this. So here we are in the prisms section, and it's real easy. In fact, in this program, look at the name of this tool. It's called the push-pull tool. In other things, it's called an extrusion. Really fancy name, and here's what it means. It's when you take this and you just drag it up and you make it into a prism. And again, what did I say? I said that we have the copy of the shape, the triangle on top and on the bottom, don't we? Okay, so let's take a look at this next one. We're going to do the exact same thing with the push-pull tool, and I'm just going to grab it and drag it up. And again, notice this. We have the rectangle that we started with on the bottom and the top, same thing. Do you notice how all the walls on the outside of these are also going to be rectangles? When you pull this line here up into 3 space, it forms a rectangle in between. All right, let's do the same thing here. I'm going to kind of breeze through this. Again, we're making prisms. Oops, sorry. And we can make that really tall or short. I'm going to make this one pretty short. Okay, so again, what is there important to know about prisms? Copy on top, copy on bottom of the same base shape. And then around the perimeter of them, the sides are actually walled in by these rectangles that were formed. We can see those in the front and the back. No matter where you go, they're all rectangles. Okay, what's the difference then between prisms and pyramids? Let's go back to the note sheet. Pyramids. Pyramids are created by connecting triangles to the edges of polygons, and they form a point at the top. And I put top in quotes because, you know, you could turn it upside down, that wouldn't be the top, but for us today, this is going to be, we're going to talk about the top of it. So I'm going to go back to this, and let's just zoom out, and I'm going to slide over to pyramids. Notice how we have exactly the same 4 shapes, just because I wanted to show you that they're all made out of base shapes. All right, first things first. Pyramids, if you're familiar with the Pyramid of Giza, how many people have ever seen the Pyramid of Giza? The ancient Egyptians, right? Okay, they have a square pyramid. The bottom of it's a square, and it comes up into a point. What I'm going to do, you guys, you're going to see me take a step that you guys, which is basically just for me to do. And that's this step right here where I have to put a point up here. And then what happens? This is a floating point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect that, and I'm going to form triangles on the edges. There's a triangle, and there's another one. So here we have, there's our triangle on the bottom, and then the outsides are surrounded by triangles to make a point at the top. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make this going up, and we're going to connect these to form triangles all about the shape. And then you can see we have the original shape, the rectangle on the bottom, and it comes to a point. There's just triangles that kind of fall into the point in the middle, don't they? Let's take a look at another one. This is going to be a pentagon, and I'm going to do the same thing, go up to here, and again, I'm just going to start building triangles around here. It's a little bit harder to make these in SketchUp than it is the prisms. The prisms are just one click and you got it. But there we go. Again, you can see the pentagon. Now, why is that a pentagon? Again, remember, 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Penta is 5. So that's a pentagon. And at the top, you can see that makes 5 triangles that have to surround it. Last one is called the hexagon. It's a hexagon because there are 6 edges. We go around here, I got to finish this last one up, and then we look, and you can see you have a hexagon on the bottom, and it's coming to a point at the top. Now, let's zoom, and I'm going to grab these, and I'm actually going to drag them right next to the other ones that we made earlier, so we can do a side-by-side comparison between prisms and pyramids. I'm just going to drag these up here. Now, let's zoom in on this part. Well, what's the difference? You can see they can be made, they can both be made out of any shape you want for the base. Pyramids have the copy at the top surrounded by rectangles. You see those clearly. Copy at the top and bottom surrounded by rectangles. Pyramids don't do that. They have a dot or a point or vertex floating at the top, and all of those sides collapse into that one point. Okay, so let's go back. One last thing I wanted to talk about is nomenclature. That means, what nomenclature means is, it's sometimes stuff has a system to the way that you talk about it. For example, our street names in Yakima, a lot of the numbered ones, they have a system, right? You have 1st Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, then the next one's called 4th Avenue. If you go the other direction, they're called streets. 1st Street, then 2nd Street, then 3rd Street. That's a nomenclature. It's a system that we use to name streets. These pyramids and prisms also have a nomenclature. Fancy word, but they have a system for naming them. Here's how you do it. It's not difficult. First of all, you have to know the names of, see I'm highlighting? You have to know the names of these base shapes. If you know that, you're set. So, see those shapes I've highlighted? If you had to, could you name those shapes? Could you name this and tell me it's a triangle, a rectangle, a pentagon, and a hexagon? If you can, then this is so easy to do. Watch me as I name each shape. I'm going to highlight this one. Hey, we started with the triangle, and it's a prism because it's got the copy on top and bottom, right? All right. Well, guess what it's called? A triangular prism. All right. Hey, look at this one. We started with a rectangle at the bottom, didn't we? Oh, okay. So it's a prism because it has a copy of the same rectangle at the top. Okay, so this is a rectangular prism. The next one's a pentagon, a pentagonal prism. Hexagon, a hexagonal prism. Okay, we go up here, and guess what? These are named exactly the same ways. Instead of saying prism, though, you say pyramid. So this started as a triangle on the, whoops, sorry about that. This started as a triangle on the bottom. You can see that very clearly. It's a triangular pyramid. This started with a rectangle, or, well, it's kind of like a square, but a rectangle, or a quadrilateral at the base. This is a rectangular pyramid. Here's a pentagon at the bottom, and it's a pyramid, a pentagonal pyramid. Down here, hexagon, hexagonal pyramid. Now, I told you earlier we're going to see if you guys got this. Let's give it a try now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this up here, and I want you guys, now it's kind of hard to count these sometimes. I want you guys to tell me what the name of each shape is. There's two things you have to worry about. What is the base shape that's at the bottom of it? And does it come to a point or come to a copy at the top? So basically, base shape and then pyramid, or base shape name and then prism. Go ahead right now and see what you can do with these. I'll give you just a second to work on those. For those of you watching the video, I'm going to take just a little bit of a break while everybody writes down the names, what they think the names of these shapes are. I'm also going to rotate the camera view so you can get a different perspective at them in case you're wondering and you can't see what the shape is at the bottom. So let's kind of rotate that a little bit. So you got A, B, C, D, E, and F. If you're stuck, do me a favor, just write down what you know. If you can't tell what the bottom shape is called, at least tell me, is it a prism or a pyramid? That's better than nothing, right? And if you can't tell me whether it's a pyramid or prism, at least try to tell me, what's that bottom shape called? Give me something to work with here. We can fix students who try hard and they may not have all the information. We can't fix students who don't try at all. So give me something. Give me your best on these. Anybody need to see these from the bottom? Would that help? Okay, I'm going to do it real quick because then you can't see the letters very well. Who wants to look at the bottom? You ready? Okay. You can kind of see the letters still. I'll highlight those bottom shapes so you can see them very clearly. That could help. No problem. And at the end we'll have yeah, SketchUp works pretty good for this type of stuff. I mean, it's 3D shapes. It's about pretty much what it's made for, you know. And also, I don't want to give you the impression this is. Oh, hey! I wanted to thank everybody who came. We've run out of time here, so to review with your, you can review with your teacher those answers. Hey, thanks, Mr. Freeborn. I'll see you next.
Yeah, that was the best lesson.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have.
That's going to be on YouTube?